I will try to be brief and to the point. How many public libraries there in India? So I tried to find out the data. If you see the IFLA website, they have a very, very encouraging figure, more than 1 million. It says it is more than 1 million. What is the source of the data? I tried to find out. They said Indian Library Association, Ashoka University, etc., etc. Then I could guess that they have included the school libraries also. But how to define a public library? Is there any official document? Then I asked my previous boss in the ICSSR, who was also the chief statistician of India, and I asked him, is it possible for the NSSO, National Sample Survey Organization, to conduct a survey? How many public libraries there in India? Then what is the yardstick? If somebody has 2 almiras of books, and is it a public library, personal library? And if some library has some 3,000 books, it is a public library. So that definition is missing. And you can say the Public Library Manifesto by UNESCO, that is the most authentic document of the public library, but it does not give you the figure, the number of volumes you should have in the library. So that is a very misleading, this is just an estimate. I have written 1 lakh. In a diverse multilingual country where there are attitudinal difference and varying degree of social, cultural information awareness among 1.4 billion people, diversity of India, where 1.4 billion people live, so many languages, so many dialects, so many scripts, to organize a public library system, universal public library system for the entire country is next to impossible. So that we want to understand. The IFLA, while launching the project Library Map of the World, remarked, how can IFLA advocate at the global, regional, and national level when it does not have basic information about the number and state of libraries across the world? So this was the IFLA's comment, because they started a project in 2017 to map or to count the libraries in the world. The policy document written by the state agencies are silent on the issue of what is a public library. In a broader sense, public libraries are social institutions showing positive outcome of human interaction to achieve a goal. They also reduce the limit of the uncertainty of human cooperation, giving a steady structure of everyday life. This is true in many public libraries which now work as a community hub. In many socially advanced states like Kerala, West Bengal, and even Maharashtra also, there are public libraries which are a hub of cultural activities. And in Tamil Nadu, if someone is here is Tamil Nadu, there is a concept called Thinai. Thinai means an elevated platform where somebody stands and speaks about what he has to say to the crowd from a newspaper or from a book. So that sort of oral dissemination of information is also works as a public library institution. Another factor which is very important is changing scenario. Now, my 2 predecessors have emphasized the reading habit. Now, I will emphasize the reading space, because while traveling by metro in Delhi and traveling in a remote place like Latehar in Jharkhand, from where I am coming to your place, Pune, I found there is a demand for reading space even in the village areas also. And I visited a library that I will come to later, because I am a member of the advisory board of Read India, where I found that school students after school hours how they spend their time. That is, the public library is one of the avenues or one of the place where they can come and read. Public libraries are one of the few institutions established by the states and provided free to the public without expecting measurable results or tangible return. Public libraries will have limited presence in the society if left to private hands. The general concept is, it is a public library is a public institution. It should be publicly funded, but that concept is changing now. How it is changing? Public reading spaces and libraries are becoming private enterprises. They charge fees from the students. Public sector property developer like the DDA, Delhi Development Authority, are also in the fray. How? That I will explain. Recently, the 2 students preparing for the IAS, they died in a basement library in Delhi. And that has just awakened our state government, because before that they were sleeping, to set up public reading space in Delhi, in different places of Delhi, because Delhi has a larger concentration of migrant students who are coming to Delhi to create opportunities for employment and education. So there is a huge demand for public reading spaces. I believe, though our predecessor has said it is a forced reading, preparing for competitive examination, but it is essential. To survive in this world, you have to compete with others. And most of the students very rightly believe that if you don't prepare for the competitive examination, any competitive examination, maybe it is state bank officer, civil service, or for army or bank examination, whatever it is, they have to prepare in a different manner. It is not only textbook-oriented reading. So for that, reading space is very important. My presentation is what is the role of the government in the public library development, how it has become necessary to provide once-free public library and reading room services through profit-seeking private agents, how the corporate world is becoming a part of the library-related endeavor, and how the civil society or the local community is getting involved in library-oriented programs. What sort of strategic plan is needed to make the library-related programs a success? So, just based on this, library, the term good has been used here to refer to a set of services. Every good can be classified either as public or private, depending upon the institution framework surrounding the good and the condition of the goods production. 2 main features of public good are joint, equal, and non-rivalrous consumption by all, and non-excludability. That it signifies that one individual's consumption of a good or a service does not prevent another individual from consuming the same good. That means it is a public good, is for everyone. So if you consume that good, its value will not reduce. This is the general concept of a public library. But what is happening now is different. One problem with the idea of a joint and non-rivalrous consumption of all goods are characterized by non-rivalrous consumers at a low level of use. At a very high level, when the public library is used as a very minimum level, then there is no problem at all. But at the very high level of use, no good can be consumed without diminishing the level of consumption of others. This rather peculiar quality of public good can be explained with reference to opening of a large number of privately run reading rooms in metropolises like National Capital Region of Delhi. This factor has provided reading services by private enterprises who charges a minimum 1,000 rupees per month from the students just for the reading there, just for the sitting there and for the purpose of reading. It is an air-conditioned environment, no doubt, but cramped. It is so congested that at a very small room they accommodate 50 students or 40 students. And this has been highlighted in a paper in Economist. You know the journal, Economist is a very widely read journal all over the world. So 26 July 2025, there is an article on this reading spaces in the city of Delhi. And they have given a photograph also. And I think many of the government policymakers have seen it. There are many spaces in the government institutions which remain vacant. So there is the concept of joint use library. Those can be opened for the public, particularly for the students, after the office hours, after the school hours. I think that will provide a lot of opportunities to the younger generation. One of the oldest and popular news magazine, I have already explained, published a report on 26 July, the issue of private reading room operating in Indian cities. Highly congested, air-conditioned sitting spaces are now utilized under pay and use system by the aspiring Indian youth. The write-up is supported by photograph of a reading room. The owners are now doing brisk business in the city of Delhi, New Delhi, where there is a concentration of coaching institutes. Now, the role of the union government in library development. The union government has practically very limited role in their upkeep or development because library is a state subject according to the Constitution of India. So any parliament questions regarding the limited public library facilities in the country, the stock answer is it is a state subject. Go to the states, so we are not responsible. But it is not a very healthy answer because they have, after all, they have established a Raja Ram Mohan Rao Library Foundation, which is set up by the union government. Apart from that, there is a project like grant in aid under the central government where you can provide grants for a specific purpose to the states. State governments are apathetic to our public library because they have many other things to do. And during my brief tenure in the Ministry of Culture, I have found that money given to the states for the library purpose are diverted, and they use it for the payment of salaries, this, that. And this is the scenario, in general scenario. There are exceptions, like Maharashtra is a developed state in terms of public libraries. According to RRLF annual report, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh, these three are developed states in terms of public library development. But other states, the scenario is very, very pathetic. Say in Uttar Pradesh or Bihar. Uttar Pradesh, maybe now they are developing. In Bihar, the money given for public library is not utilized. And I had asked one librarian in our city, Ranchi, कि आप इसके बारे में लिखते क्यों नहीं हैं? कहता मेरे को तो पावर ही नहीं है कि मैं ऑफिशियल चिट्ठी भेज सकूं 1 रुपया का स्टाम्प लगा कर. That power is not given to me. And there is a very peculiar scene in a Ranchi State District Library. It is divided into 2 parts. And one part, I saw a large number of bicycles are parked. In the other part, there are almiras, all locked. तो मैंने पूछा उस लाइब्रेरियन से, भाई ये क्या है? वेरी क्लियर डिवीजन. कहता है जी ये पोर्शन तो रीडिंग के लिए है, स्टूडेंट्स के लिए. ये पोर्शन है हमारे स्टाफ के लिए. हम किताब लॉक में रखते हैं क्योंकि अगर कोई एक किताब खो जाए तो दैट विल बी रिकवर्ड फ्रॉम मी. तो ये बहुत सेफ है कि हम इसको ताला बंद करके रखते हैं. कोई स्पेसिफिक रिक्वायरमेंट ऐसे किसी ऑफिशियल का, किसी स्टूडेंट का या किसी प्रोफेसर, हम खोल के उनको देते हैं और उनसे वापस लेकर फिर ताला बंद लगा देते हैं. तो एनीवे, and the states like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Maharashtra, West Bengal and Karnataka have better public library infrastructure. The states having higher level of social intelligence have set up more public libraries as compared to others. Civil society and local community leaders have taken a leading role in this venture. Civil society means the NGOs working in the field of adult education, etc. They have taken a leading role in this. The major objective of the RRLF, the Raja Ram Mohan Rao Library Foundation, is to formulate a national library policy and to build a national library system. Number one, they have not done this. to provide financial and technical assistance to library, to provide research on library development. Financial assistance they are providing, but other activities are not, they are not very proactive in taking up other activities. To advise the government all matters related to public library system and to propagate library legislation in states and UTs. Financial assistance to libraries maintained by the state is provided under various matching and non-matching schemes. See, this is a very difficult situation. If you ask the states, we will promote and set up libraries, but 50% of the expenditure you have to meet. The states are not willing to do that. There are many states, exception is northeastern state where the 90% grant is given by the RRLF and 10% is to be given by the state government. So that is an exception. But other states are not willing to give even the 50% of the expenditure from the state government budget. The RRLF has so far granted financial assistance to more than 35,000 public libraries. Important areas such as RLF annual budgetary allocation is only 33 crore, is grossly inadequate to support a public library system in India. National Mission on Libraries, there are 4 components. I don't have time, so I cannot explain this in detail because I have another speaker today. And I have been asked by Sangeeta to finish it by 11:30. Creation of a national virtual library, creation of model library, survey of public library, and training and skill development of the public library staff. These are the 4 activities taken by the National Mission on Libraries, but its progress is very slow because it is a government mission, and there are all sorts of rules and regulations, calling tender, and the most important limiting factor is the states don't respond. If you want to give some 20 crore to develop to renovate one state central library and one district library, they have to send a proposal to the RRLF, detailed proposal. That they are not sending. So this is some sort of apathetic attitude by the state government, which is a limiting factor. Creation of the model public library in each state and a select number of districts and upgradation of Ministry of Culture maintained libraries as modern institution is one of the major projects. But the project development, the progress is very slow. Now the corporate sector, I don't have time, so I do not want to explain it in detail. Corporate sector is taking interest in library development. And I am a member of the advisory board of Read India. This is an organization which is getting grants from the corporate bodies for the purpose of, but they have one condition, which is a limiting factor. They said, we'll give you money, okay, but you have to incorporate the concept of entrepreneurship in your library. That means you have to earn money or you have to develop the library users to skill development. You have to develop the skills of the library users so that they can be employed by the others and they can earn money. So these are the conditions, which is very difficult to do because getting money from the library for the library use is not, that concept is not there in the village India. And if you say what should be done by Read India, they are trying to do their best and they are enhancing the capability of the local communities to set up their own enterprises and to get jobs in various trades. Since 2012, they have trained 50,000 men and women to develop occupational skills. The soft skills are also important in India due to the emergence of the service sector. This sector employs more than 50% of the workforce, and soft skill development is a part of the Read India programs. Now, what should be the strategy? Strategy of a public library should be to to develop the youth, the younger generation, create the facility for education and employment. Percentage of population in middle income group has increased these days. Number of higher education institutions has also increased substantially. The many rural areas have become urban agglomeration. There is a demand for smart libraries and comfortable reading spaces in these semi-urban areas also, apart from the urban areas like Delhi or Bombay. New methods, culture of reading I am not taking it because my predecessors have already said. My concluding remarks is how public libraries can play a decisive role in the following development-related parameters: children's education, employability and livelihood training, dissemination of useful and relevant information in a user-friendly format which relate to various welfare programs announced by the government, how to thwart the negative qualities of various social media, and a group comprising community members may explore to what extent public libraries as a public good, as a social capital, can enhance the quality of life, particularly in rural and semi-urban areas. They have to assess the manpower requirement for this. One of the very remarkable features of a rural public library has been shown in the Santiniketan Surul. There is a public library where the ladies of that area, the female population, the mothers of young children, they said, we want to develop our skill so that we can help my children to do their homework. They are not educated. They are not BA or MA, maybe not even matriculate, but they want to educate their children, and that is the most important gift a parents can give to their children, even in village India today. So they came to the librarian or to the library policy makers in the Surul near Santiniketan. We want to develop some sort of skill so that we can help my children to do their homework. So these are some of the things the Read India is trying to do, and they have been successful in many places. They have 54 centers all over the country, and there are many of them are in Haryana, Punjab area. And South India, there are very few, but they have a few centers here also, maybe South and West India. So this is it in short, my presentation.